Welcome back to a new season of Wie is the Mole. Welcome back to a new season of Hints and Theories. I've got my mobile right here. We can start right away. But first of all, welcome to this channel here. If you don't know me yet, my name is Julia. I talk about hints and theories that will hopefully help you figure out who the mole is. And before we dive right into hints and theories to, this totally new season, I want to do a little happy dance because my mole of the anniversary season was the mole. How cool was that? I really, had a big happy moment when it came out that Nathan actually was the mole. Was really happy about that. Love to see how all the others reacted to that, all the other candidates and people who were there in the studio at that moment, and also love to see how his son Lavezzi reacted to it, because you probably already know it because I've talked about Lavezzi's show a few times in my videos. Lavezzi has a hints and theories show for children in the Netherlands. I think that's how you could sum it up. And yeah, he of course was very surprised as well that his father was the mole. So yeah, that was really cool. And before we start with the hints and theories from episode number 1, I want to tell you about something that happened back in January about this new season. And that is that at some point the candidates are officially announced. So, and because this season started later than usually, they were announced in the beginning of January. And the process, you go to the website then, and then you can see photos of the candidates and usually a little text about them with some information like what do they do for a living, what was their career like until now, and just some basic information about a person. Yeah, and usually those photos we get to see there are in color, and this time something happened which was quite a big thing in the Netherlands. That maybe is a bit exaggerated, but let's say at least in the Wie is the Mole community, because the photos there weren't all in color. To be precise, only 2 photos were in color. All the other photos were black and white. And if you've been to the website during one of the early seasons, then you know that at some point when a candidate leaves the game, his or her photo, will change from a color one into a black and white one. So basically that's the way to know, oh, this person has already left the game. And now that out of 10 photos, only 2 photos were uploaded in color, that of course led to the shock, better said, if this is a giant spoiler. Because, the most logical explanation would be that the 2 leftover photos would be the photos of the winner and the mole of the season. And I mean, this would be a pretty big mistake, explosion, like, I don't know, fail, spoiler. So of course there was a lot going on, and there also were news articles about that. And the official explanation is that it was an IT mistake and that it has nothing to do with what is actually going on in this season. I'm not so sure if we can believe all of that, to be honest, which is why I decided not to tell you which 2 photos. So the photos from these 2 people, who were those 2 people. I'm not going to tell you that because I think if it is a spoiler, then it's really dumb to know that. So I decided not to tell you which photos were in color. If you are interested in that, then a simple Google search will most likely tell you that. As I said, there were news articles about it. And I'm sure that some other hints and theories YouTubers also produced videos about it because it was a pretty big thing. So if you want to know it, you can figure it out. I decided not to share it so that I do hope for myself that it isn't correct, because that would really be a bit dumb. Anyway, so I thought I would leave it up to you guys if you want to know it personally or not. That's the big thing that happened before the season, and let's quickly talk about episode number 1. I think it was a good first episode. It wasn't one that totally blew my mind, but it also wasn't one that I, was a bit, not so happy about in the end. So it was a pretty good one, I think. I really I like to see those little moments when they were so happy to see all the wild animals, the elephants and the lions and all of that. It was pretty, cool to see those childlike happiness there. And what also is pretty interesting, I think, is that we have a lot of money in the pot right now. 4,500 euro after episode number 1 is a lot, I think, which gives me the feeling that this actually screams fish sticks. So if you don't know what that means, it's a little code word here in our international community that at some point in the game the candidates have the chance to, or the mall, someone has the chance to get some money out of the pot, to play some money out of the pot, which a lot of fans do not like really much, because it actually should be earned money once it is in the pot. But in the seasons in the last years, there have been a lot of games, a lot of tasks, a lot of options, possibilities to play money out of the pot. And if it starts that high, it does give me the feeling that we will have something coming up like that. But maybe also the mall isn't really, didn't have such a good start, could also be a possibility. So that is something I recognize in general. And then let's open the mall book to check out what I've written down for the tasks. The first one, of course, which was called Jij bent de mol, you are the mole. Of course, the question is, would the mole run to his or her chair immediately? Of course, that would be super obvious. Milan is the first one to sit down at, the correct chair, so to say, at the table with his name on it. I think it would be too obvious for the mole, and until now Milan doesn't really give me more vibes, but yes, of course it does make him a bit more suspicious, so it is probably a hint to Milan as mole. And what also was very interesting in that one was that we got to see those interviews, the molestitaties, so the interviews in which the candidates get to know if they are mole or not. And the reactions of Delilah and Dan were both very interesting, because they were a bit weird, so to say, for a candidate to react like that. But for more, I think again it would be too obvious actually. So maybe what my conclusion is, at least in Dan's case, is I think he has hoped to be the mole and then tried to, act a bit like, oh, okay, candidate. Cool, surprise. I don't know, maybe it's just my theory. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about their reactions. At least they seemed a bit weird. And then you've maybe recognized that when they showed us those interviews, in the back we could see a clock, and the clock hands were a little, in a special color colored. They had some fluorescent green, light green color, and they all were showing the same time, which of course is very unlikely to happen. That they really took 10 days, but I mean, I don't know. But we got to see a time which most likely is 12:26, and 1226 is the question if that has a meaning, but at least we got to know from Rick that the 26 actually will have a meaning throughout the season. So maybe there was a hint that at some point in the season will make sense. So yeah, we'll definitely have to watch out for more 26 things, I think. And maybe they will add up to something at the end. Also, if you have an idea what a 26 could mean, then let us know in the comments below. There's one candidate whose birthday is on the 26th of January. But yeah, I mean, we've had hints like that in the past years, but the question is if that really would be... It would be very obvious if Rick tells us to watch out for 26s, and then this is the hint. Anyway, let's have a look at episode number 2. The candidates had dinner together and were supposed to choose keys to the rooms. Of course, it is very likely that the mole would know which key is which room, and then also how much money is in which room, of course, or in which lodge. And the question is, where would the mole like to be? And I think there are a lot of options for the mole here, because there are several ways how you can sabotage here. You can, of course, try to get into the room with €0 and then just the room of Nasruddin and Matteo, and then try to get out and get to Rick and get 0 money in the pot, and also with that block another team from getting to Rick, which is actually a pretty good way to mole, I think, and it did work out, so that does make Matteo and Nasruddin a bit more suspicious. Or as mole, if you end up in another lodge with a lot of money, you could try not to get out of that lodge and just be a bad liar. Or if that is also not possible and you have a very good candidate next to you, and in the end you two get chosen to go out, then you can still get caught by those people, by the guards there, and not make it to Rick, such as in Dan's case. So also that makes Dan a bit more suspicious, especially because he had, I think, €1,000 with him, which didn't make it in the pot in the end. So yeah, a lot of ways how you can mole here, which makes it, of course, really good for the mole, especially in episode number 1, because then it does not make that much of a difference in which lodge you end up, and you still have options to mole here and to have an influence on the game, I think. And yeah, so Dan makes it also a bit more suspicious, as I said, which also was very weird was the reaction of Delilah, who said that she has 10 €100 billets, which is very unlikely, and nobody believed her. So it was a weird thing, but I actually think it makes her a bit, I think it's more of an anti-mole action, because it was lied pretty badly. And as a mole, the only way it could be that she's the mole and didn't want to get out of her lodge. That would still work out, and then you would lie in that way. So of course we do not say she's not we do not throw her off of our list right now, but yeah, it just was a weird thing. And then last but not least, what I want to say about this task is that, again, there was this whole eye thing. Like Rick said in the beginning of this episode that there are several chances throughout the season when the candidates have the chance to look the mole eye to eye, to see the mole eye to eye. And then all of those boxes he had lying there also had sentences with I in them. So I feel that this could be a theme throughout the season as well. So maybe we have to watch out for 26 options and for eyes. And for opportunities to look the mole into the eye. Anyway, a lot of hints in this big hints, obvious things in the first episode, which do not really make that much sense now. But of course, it would be boring if they did. And last but not least, task number 3, which is interesting here, is that I think we saw someone who's really good at lying, which is Quinty. So when she had to come up with a lie to not go back to the group, that was a pretty good one, saying that if she stays there, they could get the double amount at the next thing. Then again, Nienke, really wasn't good at lying. So I think that's a bit of an anti-mole action in Nienke's direction. Jeez, I really have to get used again to talking that much in English. I'm sorry. And it's all a mix in my brain with all the languages anyway. So I hope you can forgive me if there are some Dutch words suddenly in between. And what I want to say about this task as well is that I really like the idea with the elephant as the horse of Troya. I really like that, and I really think they did a really good job. I mean, they had like almost 5 minutes left over in the end. It was really good. Earned €3,000. Perfect. I mean, if you're a real honest candidate and you really also play for the pot and not only for finding the mole, then what better way you can start a season? There's no better way. But of course, what is interesting here is where would the mole like to be? And I think the mole would like to be in the group that stays in the game. So need Nienke's or Quinty's position, because if you stay in the game and if you're part of the group, in the end you get to decide if the elephant will be opened or not, and then you can decide if the money will be spent on opening the elephant or not. And in the end they didn't do that, but as mole you can at least try to spend those, just earn €3,000 right away. And in the end they voted for no, but there were a few people who were pretty interested in opening the elephant, and people who didn't want to open him are Milan, Delilah, and Geraldine. Evelyn as well, but Evelyn is out of the game. So that makes them a little bit less suspicious, I think. And people who were interested in opening the elephant were Bram, Matteo, and Nasreddin. And Nasreddin is even more interesting, I think, because we didn't get to see that good, very well in this scene right there, but we get to see him in an interview scene right after that, and he says, of course the mole wants to open or would likely want to open the elephant, and Matteo really want to open it as well as I did. So I thought that was pretty interesting that they showed us the scene like that. Could also be, of course, that they showed us that to make Nasreddin appear more suspicious than he actually is. But yeah, as you know, in Wie is the Mol, there are always more ways that you can think. There are always more ways to look at something. So, and that's pretty much it for episode number 1. I'm sure you've spotted a lot of other things as well. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this episode number 1. If you've already have, a person you think could be the mole. I personally, don't really have a super suspicious one at the moment, but let me know what you think about them. By the way, there's also a pool in the Wie is the Mol app again if you want to put in points and join us. So it's again the international fans pool, and yeah, let us know if you've spotted anything else that was suspicious. I am, of course, as always, looking forward to reading all of your comments with your hints and theories and ideas, and I hope to see you back next week. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, then I really recommend to do this so that you will know when there's a new video. And then until next time, bye.